This week, we're going to be talking about a hodgepodge of topics. What's your ideal backup country if America doesn't work out?
Somewhere in West Africa. I haven't picked which one yet. Then she added, servers can't pay their rent because of people like you. If you can't tip properly, don't dine out.
I was relieved to learn that my son is in fact mine. He says genetics are weird. His style of kind of motivational videos and motivational speaking is he promotes this kind of like grind, hustle, push yourself, mind over matter.
Welcome to Two Bees in a Pod. I am Biya.
And I am Biya, and this is a podcast about immigrant experiences in the U.S., sharing our perspectives on various topics,
Including straddling cultures, fitting in, staying connected, learning and unlearning the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Welcome to another episode of Two Bees in a Pod. And we are back in the office. So we're back to our regularly scheduled programming. And this week we're going to be talking about, a hodgepodge of topics. But the icebreaker is, what's your ideal backup country if America doesn't work out? And let me just put a disclaimer before, anybody comes for us. We know that it's a privilege to be able to leave America when conditions are not suitable. Not everybody has that privilege. We're fantasizing here. But if America becomes, too unsuitable for you and you had to pick somewhere to relocate to, ideally, where would you want to live?
Somewhere in West Africa. I haven't picked which one yet. But I think in no particular order, Senegal, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Benin.
Okay. Let me not make a face because I don't know what they got going on over there.
Or Togo. I know a lot of people who went to the British School of Lomé and it's a really good school. So, Togo for that reason. I said Benin just because it's close to Nigeria. That is as close as I will live in Nigeria. In Benin. Right. It's driving distance though.
It is. So is Cameroon, but you didn't name that, so I'm assuming you don't. That's not on your list. Frying pan to fire.
I'd love to go to Cameroon. Cameroon has elections this year and a lot of things. We can talk about that because Cameroon elections has had so much drama and the election has not even reached.
Bruh, maybe
Have you been following it?
I'll see an article, my mom will share an article in our family group, and then I'll start getting into it, and then I'll get so stressed out and anxious because I'll imagine all these scenarios, and then I'm just like, okay, no, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens because I cannot.
So the long and short of it is that our big P, Grand P, Divondo, nobody has really seen him in a while, and my man's is 90 something. He ain't all there, but it seems like there are people pulling the strings and forcing him to run or insisting that he run. I was talking to somebody who boots on the ground, and his theory was it's Chantal and some other guy who are pushing. I guess she realizes the clock is running out and she hasn't set herself up for retirement. So she's pushing. And I think the last 2 years, it felt like they were pushing Frank Biya to the front. But apparently, Frank and herself have fallen out, which is why we're not hearing about him anymore. And then you have Maurice Kamto, who he worked in government, I think in the 90s, early 2000s. And then he left and I don't know if he started a party or he joined a party called MRC. I don't even know the meaning of MRC. Such a shame. He contested the results in 2018, went all the way to court, but of course, a court that all the judges were appointed by the president. You don't expect to win in such a situation. And then in the last 7 years, he's been very politically active. And you can tell that they've been worried about him because he was on house arrest for a while for no reason. And so he ended up announcing his candidature from Paris. And everybody's like, why is he doing it from Paris? Does it make any sense? But it's just he's on house arrest in Cameroon, and by doing it in Paris, it put eyes on him. But then his party, MRC, boycotted the last municipal, maybe parliamentary elections. And so at the last minute, they said parties who boycotted those elections are not eligible to submit a candidate. No, No problem. He jumped to a different party. Money Dem has been around for I would say since I was in Cameroon. He jumped over there, submitted his paperwork. Last fights, like 24 hours before the deadline, some random man just appeared from nowhere. They said this another candidate.
Wait, that was contesting for the same party?
From the same party.
So they can only have one, obviously they can only have one per party.
Yes. And nobody knows where this person came from. I don't want to shame this man, but it's like, sir, because everybody's like, where did he get, I think it's like 10 million CFA. He is a plant. He literally is a plant because I think it's like 10 million or something. I'm sorry. He don't look like he got it. There's no, like somebody, there's no trace of this person. They just appear. So they went, and then, of course, Maurice Kamto took them again to constitutional courts and yada, yada, yada. And so they're like, nope, not happening. But what is interesting is Issa Chiroma and Bello Buba Maigari, who have always been in government for my entire life, even though Bello Buba has always had his own party, UNDP. It seems they've fallen out again. And so they're forming some coalition. And I think most people are working together to have like all the different opposition parties come together and form like one coalition with one candidate. I don't know how this will work because this was the same thing they did in 2004. They were talking about it, and at the last minute, it fell through. Hopefully, people can put their egos aside and something will happen. But my sense from Facebook and social media is like people are really hyped about the election. Like my dad was saying, he's had younger patients come to his office and they're like, are you registered to vote? Which is almost like something that doesn't happen. So he feels he's a little bit more upbeat about what could happen than normal. It's Cameroon. It's not that it's Cameroon. Since 2016, I'm not a hopeful person to sit here and like expect, because I mean it's interesting that there's talks about forming a coalition and it'll be great. But I'm like, why didn't people do this before? But then seeing what has happened with Maurice Kamto, for instance, there's no telling that if they formed a coalition, they wouldn't have tried to dismiss their candidates before the actual election.
But it is a different strategy, and there's definitely strength in numbers, and it's harder to squash, right? It's easier to squash an individual like Maurice Kamto, or like at least, try to invalidate his candidacy versus a group. So
they're talking.
Am I hopeful? No, but I want to be proven wrong. We'll see.
I'm looking at it. I can't say that I'm hopeful. I'm cynical. I'm cynical because, like I said, 2016 was my that's my cynic origin story. I'm just like
that late. Okay. I mean, just growing up in Cameroon was not your cynic origin story.
In my adults, no. Listen, 2016, there were 3 canon events in 2016. First, it was the NBA Finals. Second was Brexit. NBA Finals, Golden State was playing Cleveland. Golden State was up 3-1. I watched every night. Talking about just one more. They never made it. There was no one more. And so that already, and then Brexit happened like that July, and then November.
Wait, was that, what year did Kevin Durant jump ship and go get a free ring? Was that the year?
No, it was before that.
It was before. Okay, so yeah, I was already a hater by then. Okay, good. I'm glad. That was anyway, we've gone, like the tangent that we've gone on, but I just want to give the TLDR for people who are not familiar with Cameroon politics. Our current president has been the president since 1982? 82. Yeah,
Hold on. He was vice president or prime minister at independence. So my man has been in power since we became a country.
Listen, he's our founding father, literally.
Literally?
He's our founding daddy, and obviously he's 92, and he has declared that he's going to be running for another term. Presidential terms in Cameroon are 7 years, and there's no limit to the number of terms, which I believe he did that. He changed the constitution.
Yes. And also, it used to be 5-year terms. He changed it to 7.
He changed, yes.
And then they said they were supposed to have only 2 7-year terms. And we went from Dernier Septennat to Troisième, and I don't even know which one version we're in now. But yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, what Bilala was alluding to is that obviously, I mean, the man has very good genes. I will give him that. His mother died. She was allegedly over the age of 100. So, but it is believed that
his sister died in her 90s too.
yeah, it's believed that he does not have all of his, like cognitive faculties. And I think, was it last year or the year before where he was at some international like forum or something where he was not making.
Was he the one who licked the mic? He was Nigerian.
He was barely coherent. I mean, he's kind of, where Trump is going, he was there, I want to say like 5-6 years ago. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that this man is extremely old. He's rarely seen in public. So it's very suspicious and very confusing that he's trying to run for president again. He must have amassed, I don't know how many millions of dollars in wealth by now that he has stolen from that country. It's like, why don't you just go to Geneva, go to Switzerland, where you have your house, you have your healthcare team, just retire there and leave people alone? It's like, why are you still holding on?
You just said something that has me thinking, because, since 2018, he hasn't really been able to rest in Europe. But it's making me wonder, like, why doesn't he have a house? So after or during the 2018 election, they had, I think there was something where they gave out sardines or something. So people who accepted the sardines, which was like you took free food from the government, they started calling them sardina. And then you had the brigade anti-sardina or anti-sardina, who were like, the people were very vocal about like anybody who took money. And so every time post that, if he went to Switzerland, they show up and they protest at his hotel every single time, unfailingly. Anywhere that he popped up in Europe, there were protests. I think that has had a direct effect in like curbing the amount of time. But it makes me wonder, like, why don't you have a home? Like, why don't you have a house where you go to?
I mean, maybe for some reason he can't own property. But my point is that
renting it out.
He does not need to like what is the reason? Nobody's gonna come after him. Let's keep it real. Like, even whatever government would take over after him, I just don't see it where they would like be pursuing him to International Criminal Court or some other thing like that. I don't think he has anything to fear in terms of that kind of legal retribution. Carry your money and go and sit down somewhere.
No, there's no loyalty among thieves. He was Amadou Ahidjo's vice president. Amadou Ahidjo died in 1986, and Amadou Ahidjo is still not buried in Cameroon. Nyobe has been dead for God knows how long. If you want Yaoundé to shake, just say you're going to celebrate Nyobe's birthday or commemorate the day he died, and they will show up in his village in Bassaland.
I get it. But you're still going to die at the end of the day. Even if you die in that office, whatever happens after, they can still desecrate your, memorials, your grave. They can still desecrate your legacy. So it's like, why don't you just, like, I don't understand what it is.
They can send him
and
to
I don't believe that it's Chantal. I think that's misogyny. People saying that Chantal is the one pushing. No, again, they have enough wealth where she can go and live her best life anywhere she wants. I don't think that opinion is rooted in anything valid.
I'm just saying there's no honor among thieves. It is said that Mendoza's son went to jail in France for something that Frank Biya did, and Paul Biya still sent Mendoza to jail. And so I'm pretty sure he knows what he has done and knows that no matter how much he kikis to these people, and some of them have been in his cabinet for 40 years now, all it takes is one person to lock his ass up.
Lock his ass up in Cameroon. That's what I'm saying. They're not going to pursue him across the globe. They're not going to if he's not in the country. I don't see it. Cameroonians are not that. Those people are not that vindictive to the point where they'll take their eyes off the money that's in front of them to go and be chasing justice somewhere. They're not going to do it. So I don't understand. Anyway, back to the question at hand. My ideal backup country, I cannot go. I mean, those African countries that you named, they're too homophobic. So South Africa, I would consider. Thailand, I don't. They are, but they're more progressive than, they don't have laws on the books that are outlawing,
Actually, you'll blend in better with them because you know how they hate a dark-skinned African.
They're xenophobic. Let me only not say that from Cameroon. There will be a different problem.
Exactly.
So that's an option. And Thailand, you know, again, I'll put in parentheses for the woke girlies. No, I'm not going there to be a gentrifier. That's just, an ideal place if I had to pick. And then a Spanish speaking country just so that I can become fluent.
See,
Costa
Costa
like
Rica.
Panama or somewhere random. Like Costa Rica is so Americanized. I don't want to go there and see other Americans. You know what I was thinking about the other day, especially since you were just in London? I hate going somewhere and then like seeing or hearing Americans. Like when I went to London last year, we went to Borough Market and we're standing eating. The place is crowded as hell, standing eating, whatever. And I just hear from behind me, just strong American accent. You know that TikTok meme that is like, and I heard this irritating voice. That was me. I was just like, is that an American I hear? It's like, why? Why are you here? Like, I wanted to be the only one here. Like, why are people following me here?
Wow.
I hate going to places and then, like, the other Americans.
It depends on the kinds, because this.
True. That is true. Like, if I saw, like, Black American women, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad.
Yes.
It's the flavor that irritates me.
So I went to a library, I think it was the Greek National Library, and they had a section in the front. I don't know what it was called, but I felt very happy because a lot of our books of the month were there. They had Hilon Habila. What was that?
Travelers. Travelers, yeah.
Travelers, okay. They had Travelers. They had Chinua Achebe. They had Arrow of God. They had... Which other one is there? I'll send you the video I made. But yeah, there were at least 3 or 4 of the books that we've read on the shelf. So it's like, yay, look at us. Very cultured.
Okay. Very. And we have very good taste in books. The proof is there. Okay, so like I said, there's a, mix of things that we wanted to talk about today. The first, this video that you sent me of the Cameroonian girl who is self-deporting, or she self-deported from America. And just a little bit of background, for the listeners who may not be aware. How many years has it been? 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago that Cameroon was granted TPS? Or 3?
I think so, yeah. I think it was 2 because then it was to expire this year, I think.
Yes. Okay, so Cameroon was granted a status called temporary protected status 2 years ago, which basically allows, Cameroonians in America who are undocumented as well as students on visas to, claim they file certain paperwork and then they are legally authorized to work in America and they're protected from deportation. That's the main thing. That's what the protected status means. That as an undocumented person, you are protected from deportation, and they used to grant that status to countries where there was some kind of hardship, civil unrest, war, something going on that it's unsafe for the citizens of that country to return. And Cameroon was granted that status, after a long battle 2 years ago. And last summer, if you guys want to go back and listen, we had Daniel Say, who is an immigration attorney, who came to speak to us about TPS for Cameroon and, what it took to get the Biden administration to grant us that status and everything that was involved. And he, at that time, said that one of his fears of a second Trump presidency was that status getting rescinded. And of course, like many other predictions that were made, exactly that has happened. So TPS for Cameroon was rescinded. That means the people who were protected under that status, Cameroonians and people of other countries as well, they're now undocumented and subject to deportation. So some people, instead of doing WWE with ICE agents in the streets, some people are just, taking their dignity and self-deporting. And of course, again, it's a privilege to be able to do that. So Bilala had sent me a video of this girl who was, just documenting her flight from America back home to Cameroon. And it was so sad because she sounded very, very Americanized. And I forget what she said in the video, how long she had been in the States. Do you remember?
20 years.
Yeah. So you might be
years.
listening and asking, how is that possible? You've been here for 20 years and you don't have status. That is very common. If you were brought here as a child, a lot of Latino immigrants have that, situation where they're brought here as children by their parents. So they've grown up in America, but they were not able to claim, they had no basis to apply for permanent residence and subsequently citizenship. So they're in this undocumented status. And President Obama, an important thing that he did was the DREAM Act, which aka DACA, which protected, a lot of people who were in that situation. But those were, the good days of old. So yeah, long story short, this girl who, is basically an American, apart from the fact that she doesn't have a passport, she self-deported back to Cameroon, and she was with her family. I don't know if they were in the same situation
the whole
as
family.
her.
I think
they were. Yeah, so I wonder how many other people are doing that, like just taking matters into their own hands and saying again, because it must be like, I cannot imagine the stress and anxiety of being undocumented in this time in America. We're back when we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, how when we were, kind of in between or trying to figure out our immigration status in this country, like over a decade ago, how nerve-wracking that was. I cannot imagine how it would be under a Trump presidency. Honestly, I would probably self-deport also. I would do it.
Listen, you took me back to 2011, where you had 90 days from the time you got your work permit, aka OPT, to get a job. And I remember sending in my OPT paperwork as late as I could because I had no job offers. So I was like, okay, if I send this in December, it's going to take them a while to get it back to me. And so my clock is running out. I think I got a job offer on that day, like 80 something of my 90 days, which is why for April Fool's that day, I took a picture of suitcases in my living room in my apartment. I actually called my friend that I needed a ride to the airport.
Bruh.
But I can't imagine. I remember how stressed out I was in 2011. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine being in that situation now. Be it a student, be it, people who are considering self-deporting, which, is a privilege. And I think self-deporting, if you can, because it's like there's very little avenue right now. Self-deporting allows you to be able to come back. At least that's what it used to be in the past. It used to allow you, I think you don't get it on your record. And apparently they are offering people financial incentives and assistance to get back to your home country. That's what I saw. I don't trust any government website, so I didn't click on any of the links. When I was reading before this website, I think this was on Cal Matters, they said they've been pushing hard for self-deportation, and apparently they are offering financial assistance.
Although
it will probably come.
Like I said, that might be better than, wrestling ICE agents in the streets. Did you see that video of the Haitians, like when the ICE agents came to, I don't know who, if it's a specific person that they were coming to deport? Oh man, it was a brawl. They had to leave. They ran off like they were fighting the ICE agents.
That's the energy.
It was in New York.
It's like
it was somewhere in New York. Molly whopped them.
It's like knowing how many immigrants are in the DMV area. Seeing the pictures of DC right now is just like, yo, I can't even imagine being in that situation because you could just be walking. I watched a video where they pulled over this guy that he didn't use the right turn signal.
Are you serious?
They said, he had a ticket. They said he had a ticket, so everybody was like recording. It's just really sad. And some of the comments that I saw in her name is Amelie's video, where they're really disheartening, and they were from Cameroonians, because people are like, oh my God, that's so sad. And you have these fools in there. Yes, I said it, they're idiots and fools talking about, well, it was TPS, the T's were temporary. I think that a lot of time there are people who take joy in quote unquote perceived downfall of others. And so it's like, oh, you thought you were in America, you're better than us, you're coming back to be like us. Listen, people who are meant to thrive would thrive anywhere. If they were going to thrive in America, as she said, she was stressed out here, she was losing her hair. In the second video, she talked about like she had been picking her hair and she'd been really stressed out. I can't even imagine the relief on her nervous system just not having to deal with that constantly. And I really hope that things work out for her and her family in Cameroon.
Yeah, I didn't go that far down into the comments, but honestly, I'm not surprised. Like, Cameroonians are some of the biggest haters that you ever meet. Not all of us. Not all of us, but bruh, there's some haters.
At least the ones that leave comments online. The ones that leave comments online. Which I say that I think the internet has made a lot of cowards. People type things behind their computers and on their phones that they will never say to anybody's face. Never, ever. But I think that my new mantra that I developed in the last couple of weeks is, if you write anything about me, as per you text my name somewhere and it comes to my attention, we are going to handle it in person. You have to keep the same energy. We are not fake smiling. I saw a video of Shador Sanders and a WNBA player, Arike Ogunbowale, where the reporter was asking questions like, why don't you have the same energy when you're talking about me? Listen, that's how I think we should all move through life. Because these keyboards have given us muscle that we don't have in real life. So
For real. But yeah, I really wish her the best. And, you know, like you said, people are meant to thrive will thrive anywhere. So I don't know what town or city in Cameroon she went to, but yeah, I really wish her and her family the best. It's Yaoundé that was dusty.
You see that dust? You see that dust?
God. I thought that was some village somewhere. I was like, where did this girl go? Did she go to? I don't want to call somebody's village here and offend them.
If Yaoundé has no haters, know that I've left this world, because I lived in Yaoundé as a child, but then I realized I did not live in the real Yaoundé. I lived in Bastos, where like the little section of Bastos that I remember from my childhood was all paved, you know, concrete tar, whatever. First time I went to Yaoundé as a preteen, I went to Itugebe, and those who grew up in Yaoundé know exactly what I'm talking about. The dust that hits me in Itugebe, I'm like, did I go to Bamenda or Kumba? Because, bruh, what is this? Y'all be talking about you're the capital. What is this?
I was shocked. The little snippet of her video, I said, surely this is somewhere, you know.
Oh, it is. It is. There's like a little area of Yaoundé that is like tarred and like cute. Once you start going to certain neighborhoods from, was it Itugebe, Obili, Biemasi, all of the Mendong is red. It is as red as Bamenda.
Girl, if you're listening to this, you know, go have yourself a little weekend in Limbe, you know. Just relax your nerves.
Kribi is closer for her.
Kribi and Limbe are not the same.
It is.
No, they're not.
Wow, sorry, Mom.
Does Kribi have silky
Kribi
black sand?
I said Kribi.
I said they're not the same. Exactly. It has that rough. The sand in Kribi is that sand that they used to build houses. The thing is rough. If you fall on the beach in Kribi, like you scrape your leg, like you fell. Am I lying? Limbe has silky black volcanic sand. Listen, the sand in Limbe, first of all, is good for your skin. It's volcanic sand. Okay? They're not the same, please.
Actually, now that you're talking about this, I'm going to look for the information and send to you. My friend was looking for investors for a project outside of Limbe. I don't know, I didn't think about you.
Okay. Is it like a hospitality project? We'll talk about it later. I don't want people to listen and start messaging you and like encroach on my investment. But back to the topic at hand. You shared this with me, which was a shocking number. From January to now, what is it, 1.4 million? There are 1.4 million less immigrants in the US.
Yeah.
That is crazy. In a 7-month period.
2 weeks ago, they were celebrating that for the first time since the 60s, the US had negative net migration since 1960.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hostile environment between the deportations and the people who are leaving. I was texting a colleague the other day. He told me that he's quitting and moving to Thailand. I'm like, bro, I don't blame you.
But you know what was funny in those numbers? Is the fact that they said 46% of immigrants were naturalized citizens. Why are you still considering? So, like, I didn't realize they consider naturalized citizens immigrants. But I guess it makes sense since naturalized citizenship is refundable.
But you're still an immigrant because this not you weren't born. You came here. I still consider myself an immigrant.
Yes, but I'm just saying like in official numbers because then
Oh,
when you look
right.
at the numbers, it's like is it skewed with the number of like permanent residents and I don't know, maybe in my head I think well whatever. Yeah, okay.
But I mean, yeah. Long story short, America is a hostile. I mean, we're in a fascist state. I'm not gonna get into, we're not gonna go off on that tangent. But anyway, I want to have another icebreaker, like real quick, real quick. How are you going to celebrate the day when it happens? And you know the when that I'm talking about. And the people who are listening, if you don't know,
Girl, I'm gonna fire up the grill. No, it's going to take. I think my nervous system is what is going to take the hits. Sorry, I have to segue again. So I saw a thing where it said, like, when you're going through a really stressful period, right? It's like your body holds together to get you through that. But then, like, once your body realizes that, okay, there's no more danger, that's when you are most likely for it to fall apart. Like,
yeah.
and so somebody said, is that why people tend to die when they go on retirement? So they're like, they were working a stressful job, and it's just like, let me make it to the other side. And then once that stress is gone, the strain on the heart and everything that adrenaline was keeping together, it just falls apart. So please, guys, the lesson here is don't hold things, don't try to be releasing the stress every day, every hour, every minute. Somebody stresses you, stress them back, please.
For real. For
But
real.
really, more than anything, I think it's just be mindful of what you're consuming and just try to pace yourself and constantly be aware of like your nerves, your nervous system, because the body remembers and the body is taking hits and these hits are not physical. So yeah,
I mean,
think
they
I'll be
are.
working
They
on my
will
nervous
turn
system that day.
They will turn into physical symptoms. Though all those hits that you're
I'll
taking,
just be
yeah.
working on and that day. It depends which one is first. Because the other day, I dreamt about the one in Cameroon happening. I was so disappointed when I woke up that it was a dream and it was not real.
That one, for me, the outcome or the immediate aftermath has some potentially frightening consequences. That's why I'm not fantasizing about that one. But the one, we're praying for and casting spells and rituals in America. When that happens, when that prophecy comes to pass, listen, I don't care what I'm in the middle of doing. I could be presenting a PowerPoint at work in front of the CEO. I don't care. The moment I get that news, it's a part. I'm blocking off the streets. I'm blocking off the streets in front of my house. There's a place down the road that sells fireworks. I don't know if they're legal or illegal. I'll be going there to purchase some fireworks, and it's gonna be a block party in Sunnyside, okay? Like,
you know what though? I know what the party is going to be here. I already know they have no behavior. I can see it because I remember what they did that year that I will talk about that year where we did it. But yeah.
Okay, switching gears, like extreme. Apparently, allegedly, David Goggins is a deadbeat dad. Now, for the people who don't know who David Goggins is, he is an American motivational speaker. He has authored, I believe, at least 3 books. And what he's known for is for his athletic, performance. He's very physically fit. He's a former Navy SEAL, and his style of kind of motivational videos and motivational speaking is he promotes this kind of grind, hustle, push yourself, mind over matter, mentality. He's one of those bros. Imagine Tony Robbins, but on extreme testosterone. Yeah, he's like the gym bro version of Tony Robbins. Yeah, so allegedly he's a deadbeat dad and people are surprised. I personally am not surprised because I would never be surprised to hear that any man abandoned a child of his. You go come and tell me that Barack Obama is a deadbeat dad, I'll be like, yeah, that tracks for the mere fact that he's a man. I'm not saying anything bad about Barack, but I will never be surprised to hear that kind of news about a man.
Amen.
So I'm not surprised, but people are surprised because, again, his whole brand is kind of being this tap into your higher self, discipline, this and that, and it's like,
who said parenting was needed, required discipline? Just be absent.
I don't know why people are like, well, I know why they're talking about it now, but in 2023, in an interview, the interviewer made a comment or asked him something like, can you imagine how you would be as a dad? Right? Because this is a man who, up to that point was not known to have any children. And he said, actually, I have a daughter. And they didn't talk about it for long, but what he alluded to, David Goggins, was that he left the mother, like the relationship did not work out. And I guess when the relationship does not work out with the mother, the child is also bad vibes and you leave the child.
Of course.
He had alluded to that in that interview. And then now recently his daughter came out and said, yeah, they don't have a relationship. And of course the bros they're defending him, of course.
Of course.
But I'm not surprised. And one thing, the first video that I saw talking about this was from a woman, and I really agree with her wholeheartedly, is that as a woman, you must take these motivational spiritual bros, if it's a man, anything that they say, take it with a grain of salt, because there's so many examples that I could give of these men who have these incredible success stories. But when you dig a little bit deeper, either there was a woman behind them, taking care of cooking their meals, keeping the house clean so that they could do all this amazing work, or they went on their self-discovery journey and left behind a child or children for a woman to take care of. Again, as a woman and you're listening to this kind of advice, know that that's not something that you can do. So yeah, it was at least more than a year where I kind of made that link, and I switched kind of who I look at for inspiration. Not that I don't listen to motivational male speakers, but again, I'm always aware that I cannot apply everything that they're saying. And I'll take it as far as even religious figures. Jesus, which woman in his time was going to get up and start, traveling the land with 12 friends? The Buddha, where they talk about how he left, all his worldly belongings and went and, roamed as a poor. A woman cannot do that, first of all, for your safety, but women are often tied to community and they have, responsibilities. So yeah, again, it's been a year or two where I really switched my thinking, and I was like, these are not really people that I'm aspiring to be. For every man that's preaching that, I can find a woman who is giving the same advice that in ways that are more practical to me. And I'm saying that somebody who doesn't even have children.
Yeah. I mean, but you're right though. There's a thing that I saw somewhere, and I've repeated it for a while, is that there are men on this earth who only love their children as long as they love their mother. Once they don't like their mother anymore, it's FTK. Fuck them kids for the 99s and 2000s. Classic example of this, the one and only Brian McKnight, who so bad that he had another child and named a second child Junior, kind of I'm going to completely replace these children. And recently one of his sons from the first relationship died, and he was very nasty about it. He posted a message trying to blame his first wife. Sir. And I like when people show themselves but he has the guts to be posting a Monday motivation on Family Fridays, sir, you abandoned the whole family. Unfortunately for him, unfortunately for us, his primary audience were black women, and black women will stand 10 toes down on business. And so those ticket sales are not hitting the way they used to. Somebody said he needs to start back at 1.
Listen, I mean, that was so disappointing. I mean, I don't know about disappointing, but not surprising, honestly. But yeah, I was never a fan of David Goggins. So for me, it makes I mean, I'm not, I don't care either way because I was not a fan.
He did, yeah. I didn't even know who he was until I was looking up, and I guess his thing is he was diagnosed with sickle cell when he joined the army, and he quit, but then he went back and became a Navy SEAL. Good for you. But don't use that to become a thing oh, you're quitting, you're giving up. Some of these motivational people, they're, something that people have talked about recently is, I think there was a new documentary about The Biggest Loser,
I'm
And
watching it right now.
there, even though we stepped away for a little bit. I want to say COVID was good for us because we let go of skinny jeans and everybody started wearing, you know, baggy
Yoga
dresses. So
pants
like
and
the African
sweats.
aunties, we are all wearing boo-boos, and but it feels like it's coming back. It really feels like skinny is in with GLPs and everything else. Skinny is in, and who knows where we are going to be in this new era of skinny. Which, another sidebar, I don't know if you saw it, that Serena Williams admitted that she's been taking GLPs. And there's so many. There's a lot that comes with that, because on one hand, this is like a former athlete who has, not only a former athlete, but has the resources for a dietitian, a chef, and is disciplined enough to have excelled in her sport the way that she did. Saying that, oh, I things were not the way. She was never skinny. She was muscular, but she was never
Right.
skinny the way that she is today. But then on the other hand, it's like the brand that she's like, oh, this is what I've been using. Her husband is an investor in that, and so it's just like it's a little
Yeah.
bit Sanja.
I don't know. The whole GLP one, like that's surprising for me to hear that she was using, because for me, like, again, she was never considered somebody skinny, but she was incredible. She's one of the greatest athletes of all time. Hello, like, who would criticize her body? I mean, clearly she was, but yeah, that's surprising to hear. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Oprah was a spokesperson for Weight Watchers, and Oprah also said she took it, right? Which is just like, I guess, everybody, and like with Serena, can you even call it a shortcut, right? Like, because she regularly exercises and does all these things. So it's just a very weird. There's so many things to consider when you're looking at the story. I don't think it's just something that you take at face value and like, okay. Because we also have to examine the fact that these drugs were developed for people, diabetics who are like, morbidly obese or even obese. And then now it's like the fashionable thing to do almost, where people who are not obese, people who are not diabetic are taking the medication. And in certain situations, people who are diabetic can't even, there's a shortage of the medication because people are using it for vanity.
Vanity is, I mean, yeah, I I want to be careful here, right? Like, because I can't say, like, the thing is prescribed, so whoever prescribed that to you made the determination that, it was going to benefit your health. But I'm losing faith in the American healthcare system. That's losing. I've lost. But that's a topic for a different day.
It is prescribed, but like anything else, people have friends in pharma. People
You don't
have
even
friends
need
who are medical
friends.
practitioners.
You don't even need a friend to. I listen. I can almost bet that I could go and find a doctor, especially like a telehealth person, and I could, like, somebody I don't know, and I could get a prescription for GLP-1 just based on my BMI, which is a bullshit measurement.
Yeah.
But I could get one because my BMI technically is showing that I'm almost overweight. So I could get one if I wanted to. You don't even need a friend or family.
On the other hand, American capitalism strikes again. The companies are they're researching how they can put GLP-1 blockers in the food. Y'all, we need to start gardening.
Bruh, why in season 20 of Black Mirror?
Yo.
Yeah, but
listen, I swear.
the last thing I'll say about David Goggins and why, again, I was never a fan of him. I don't subscribe to this, like, grind, like this kind of hustle mentality when it comes to
Rise and
anything.
grind.
Whether it's work, whether it's fitness, anything, I simply don't subscribe. And I'm not saying that method doesn't, like, give success. Clearly it does for him, and there are people who follow him who have been successful and it works for them. But again, I simply don't subscribe to that. And this, for me, is part of this. It's a very masculine kind of mentality. It's like, shut down your emotions, stop bitching, stop whining,
Macho.
stop being a sissy. It's kind of that macho. Again, why I don't, again, anything that this kind of motivational content that's coming from men, I take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, I mean, again, any man on this earth that if I hear that, oh, he has abandoned some child somewhere, I'll never be surprised. Obama, anybody, even
The Pope.
the Dalai Lama, anyone. There will be no surprise for me.
I'm with you. Nah.
Okay.
I think I think as a community we should agree that men don't surprise us. That anything that can be done, they can do it.
Also,
Not really. Anything that
the
can be done, they can.
point is demonstrating a point that this is somebody who is preaching that look at what I did. If I did it, so can you. And he had to abandon a child to do that. You know what I mean? So clearly, it's never what it seems to be on the surface. It's kind of like saying Beyonce has the same 24 hours as you. No, she doesn't.
No, she don't.
Because she has other people's time.
No,
she pays
she
for
don't.
other people's time. And that's not a critique
Yes.
of Beyonce. It's just a critique of that certain statement that people like to make.
No, I tell my offspring every time when she pisses me off that you don't respect my time, and my time is not worth much to you when I'm asking for something to get done and you're dragging. Like, what I've asked her before, like, what is your hourly rates? Like, what do you think 1 hour of your time is worth? So no, because I do that math sometimes, like just even going grocery shopping. I'm like, okay, how much do I think 2 hours of my time driving to grocery store picking up is worth compared to maybe $20 I would pay on Uber Eats? No, not Uber Eats, DoorDash, Instacart.
Mm-hmm.
But then I could get a meal shopper. I think my thing is just sometimes some of these shoppers, I've asked for 3 pounds of tomatoes on a cold winter morning and they brought me 3 tomatoes. I woke up that morning to cook stew.
So I stopped doing the delivery. I used to have a free Instacart account because of one of my credit cards. So I would have a free, and I quit Instacart because of just what you're saying. It's a gamble. And I don't know if any executive from Instacart is listening. If there's a way that you can legally implement gender discrimination in who, you're selecting to be a shoppers, I'm telling you that your revenue, your profit is going to go way up if you find a way to exclude male shoppers. And I'm not, listen, I know that people would think I'm exaggerating. Just find any social media post where women are talking about their experiences. I mean, the things that they substitute.
Not only women, men. I think we should find a clip. There's a guy I follow on TikTok. He's American and Caribbean. He woke up to cook something, and they brought he's like, man, we need to talk about this. What's wrong with us? He's like, what is this?
Listen.
Even the men complain.
Understand, like, I know it's like, if you need money and you're going to pick up that job. But I don't know why male shopper, like, why are you signing up for that when you clearly hate doing it? Like, the stories that I've heard of the substitutions that these people make. One time, I think this was the one where I finally canceled my account. HEB, okay? For those who don't know, this jewel of Texas, it's the huge grocery store chain. It's the best grocery store chain in America. I'm putting it out there. Anyway, it's a huge grocery store. I ordered coconut milk in a can. This man said first of all, he marked it as out of stock and did not give a substitution. I messaged, I said, hey, it's okay. I don't need that specific brand. Anyone will do. This man told me that there's no coconut milk in the entire HEB, that he has asked the employees. Not a single. I canceled my account that day. There's no coconut milk in the entire HEB. I don't know if the people who are listening can envision. Bruh.
If I were to be an Instacart shopper, I would put my foot into it. Because I really go in there like picking, but maybe they don't have time. I always put, after the one time they did some funky substitutions, I'm just like, no substitute. Do not substitute, because I think that's just going to piss me off even more. But yeah, so anyways.
Bruh. Anyway, I don't know how we got, oh yes, you said, what is your time worth? I've been thinking about that because I really hate grocery shopping, and I used to do, after I abandoned Instacart, then I started doing HEB, the delivery, which there is a fee and
pickup.
and then I switched to pickup. And both are good because it's the HEB employees themselves that are picking. And listen, 10 over 10, like they never tell you that there's anything, like if you ordered it, you're getting it.
So yeah.
They do a really good job, but then like, of course, even when you do pickup, it's quote unquote free, but the price of the item, like if something was $10 in the store when you're shopping yourself, for pickup it'll be $11. And I didn't know that. And I was like, so that makes sense. That's how they're making their money. That's fine. But I started going
in this 2025, y'all can't just be jacking up things.
But you have to pay for it. You're paying for convenience. It doesn't make sense for it to be free for them to be doing it for you. So they surcharge. It's a surcharge.
Charge me a fee. I don't like the surcharge. Charge me a fee.
That would be a deterrent. That would be a deterrent. See, they had me fooled because I had been doing that pickup for several months. And I didn't know. And then I was like, okay, let me save a few dollars. And then I started going in. But then I was thinking, like, what you're saying, I'm like, is this really a good use of my time? To be walking around this grocery store? Like, I may be okay paying a little bit extra to,
My
this
favorite
is
produce store here does not have Instacart. So I have to go. And everybody in my household loves the things that come out of that store, but nobody else wants to go into the store. Like if I just say in this house that I'm going to Jerry's, or like if we're out and it's like, let's stop by Jerry's. When we pull up, they're like, oh, we'll wait for you.
Bruh, I don't blame them. I hate grocery shopping with all my heart. I hate it so much. Listen, if I had somebody who was willing to
my trigger word in this house... I'm not willing. We all went on vacation. I told my friend yesterday that we all went on vacation. We came back. You have one person opening the fridge every 2 minutes. Woohoo. Some, Sky Daddy or somebody magically put food in there since the 2 minutes since they opened it. And then there was the other one mumbling under their breath about, there's no food in this house. I got the message. So when I did groceries, did I want to? I think the hardest part about going on vacation and coming back is that if people ever see me on Snapped, it's because somebody asked me what's for dinner.
That's a triggering question. Nah, I hate grocery shopping really so much.
I just need to be.
We've been yapping for almost an hour, and there were other things we want to talk about. We had some Am I the Assholes that we were going to read like we did a few episodes ago. Okay. All right. So the first one goes, am I the asshole for getting a paternity test on my son who doesn't look like me? It says, I'm a 29-year-old white guy. My wife is 30 and black. We have 2 kids, a 3-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy. My wife got pregnant with our son early in our relationship. We had only been together a year. That's not early, sir. We got married because she got pregnant. You had to tell us that. So you had no intention of marrying this woman. Wow. Fortunately for us, we are actually happy. Are you happy? Because you are stressing on the fact that you only got married because she was pregnant. Anyway, Mark says, when my son was born, I accepted him as mine. Who else would you accept him as? However, I couldn't help noticing how little he looked like me. He's noticeably darker than my wife. He doesn't look half white. My family and friends have asked if I'm sure he's mine. I had doubts, but I initially decided to trust my wife. It's giving Prince William or whoever was asking whether Archie was dark-skinned. I loved my son regardless. When our son was 2, my wife had our daughter. I had no doubt she's mine. She looks just like me. She even has my blue eyes. I'm gonna stop here because this person is a fucking idiot. Do you know, sir, that for a biracial child, white and black, it's more rare. The fact that your daughter has blue eyes, that's a more rare occurrence than you having a son that's darker than even your wife who is black. Do you know how rare it is for this person? Like, you don't understand how genetics work. Blue eye... For your daughter to have blue eyes... Okay, let me keep reading. He says, she looks just like me. She even has my blue eyes. I never realized how powerful it is to know a child is yours. You're a fool. I bonded with her easier because there wasn't a question of paternity dangling over our heads. My family bonded with her faster too. Your family's racist, just like you. Continuing, her resemblance to me convinced me that my son is not mine. Somebody send this guy back to high school biology. I try to always treat them
For
equally
real.
as I see them both as my children, but I realized I was beginning to resent my son. Hey, God. It felt unfair that I had to care for someone else's child. I also began to resent my wife because I felt she had betrayed me. I finally got a paternity test in secret. I was relieved to learn that my son is in fact mine. You fucking idiot. He says genetics are weird. No, they are not weird. They are very much explained if you had taken the time.
But actually, you know what though? No, this is very telling. It shows that he hasn't been around black people. Because if he had been around enough black people, he would realize that there's all hues and shades of black people. There's not like one black thing. So
And again, it's not like, oh, if you take white and black and mix, there's a prescribed, phenotype that you're gonna get. No, you're not. How skin color works. Again, the fact that his daughter has blue eyes, to me, that's the more like strange thing, because that is very rare. Because blue eyes are, in simple terms, I know that eye color is affected by a number of genes, but it's recessive. So he should have been more shocked at the fact that his daughter had blue eyes than the fact that he had a dark skin mixed race son. Like, oh my God. He says, anyways, that was 4 months ago, and my relationship with my wife has improved dramatically. My wife and son. I feel much closer to him now that I know he's mine. I confessed to my wife I got a paternity test. I hope she divorces you. I hated keeping the secret, and I thought she would understand. Given how much he doesn't look like me, she flipped out, as she should. She asked me if I ever doubted our daughter, and when I said no, she called me racist. She is correct. He says it's not true. I didn't prefer my daughter because of her whiter features. I just knew she was mine. She also said that I made our son feel unloved for no reason for all those years. I said that's bull. Even when I didn't believe my son was mine, I treated him as though he were. My wife says she wants to move out and take our children after the quarantine. Oh, this was in 2020. Ma'am, wherever you are, 5 years later, I hope you indeed moved out and took your children away from this racist man and his racist family. Where is the update?
the update is they got divorced. Been divorced. This is the update from 2023. They got divorced. He said they got back together for a while to try, but the trust was broken. They went to counseling, but she could just never forgive him enough to trust him. Towards the end, she didn't even want to be intimate with me in any way, so I slept most nights on the couch in my kids' rooms. We became roommates. He said I would have kept trying to fix things, but she was willing to face the fact that it was over way before I could. I still have a lot of love for her, and I think will forever. I'm not ashamed to say I haven't gotten over how devastating it was, even though it's my fault. I miss her, and I miss what we had together. I dread the day I'll hear she's in a relationship with someone else, because I know it will come Sunday. I won't even send a son to him. I'm sorry, but I don't trust him around the kid that looks black.
Like, at all.
Your
family and friends are racist. Why would they be asking you if that's your kid? As if skin color is the only thing that you can resemble. Like, what? He didn't have facial features that look like you?
Interracial couples where both parties have not taken the time to study. Like, why are you with a black person when you don't know what mixed children are going to look like? Like, what are your expectations, right? Or a big thing, I was talking to my friend who is in an interracial marriage and talking about, I hope you're not going to do one of those colorblind children who don't see color. I said, You might, you're blinded by love. You see your kid one way, but the world is always going to see the child as black. Or
America
would always see
not
the
the
child
world.
as black. America would see the child as black because, one drop rule. But you cannot just skate on, oh, I don't see color. And you have to make an effort and be more intentional about how you're raising this kid. Because I think that in my sample size of maybe 5 or 10, I feel like there's a lot of biracial children who end up sort of like not confused but struggling to fit in. Because you go on one side, people crack jokes, you go on the other side, and you feel like there's nowhere where you actually belong. And it's very easy for that to happen if parents are not intentional about making sure that they see themselves wholly and fully for who they are.
Yeah. This guy clearly, like you said, he had very little exposure to black people, did not do the work. It's like, even if you're confused, maybe you thought like, okay, I'm having a mixed child, they're gonna come out somewhere in between my wife and I. When the child does not, I mean, wouldn't you go to Google? Why would you immediately just think that
This child, what if this little girl have blue eyes and kucha banga hair?
like that's the thing, you can't, genetics are funny because you can't like, okay, so growing up we had some family friends who were also like mixed race, and they had like my skin tone, but their hair was 4C hair, all of them. So I mean, genetics are funny. And look at how his daughter came out with blue eyes. I mean, that's shocking and rare because again, I think blue eyes is recessive, but like you cannot predict what a child is going to look like. And again, if you were confused, Google's your friend.
I tell people that there's like biracials that look like you, and there's biracials that look like Boris Kojo. Because, and I would admit, like, I feel like a lot of the biracials I grew up with in Cameroon were more curly hair, light skin. And so I remember, like, Boris Kojo doesn't look mixed though. I was like, he doesn't look métis. Like, Boris Kojo just looks black.
Boris Kojo?
He's yes, to me. I mean, yeah.
Black, like what? Like American? Well, like one drop will
He just
rule
looks like
American
a
black?
light-skinned black man.
Hold
He
on.
just looks like a light-skinned black man.
Let me Google this man.
His mother is German.
Boris Kojo? I mean,
Boris
he
Kojo.
looks mixed. You don't think he looks mixed?
He looks light-skinned. No, he just looks light-skinned.
Light skinted. Let me see.
I think even like Halle Berry looks light-skinned. Alicia Keys looks a little bit more, but
I mean, yeah, I see
If
what
I
you mean
saw-
about Boris. Another example, my girlfriend swears that she can tell any like biracial person regardless of what they look like. This person, Rashida Jones, you could not tell me that that was not a white woman. Does she look mixed? She doesn't look mixed to me.
Nope. Meghan Markle.
People, listen.
Do you know Jessica Alba's husband? She is divorcing currently.
Let me Google him.
Cash Warren. Look up Cash Warren. And then I think also look up Pete Wentz.
When I said that I didn't know Meghan Markle was mixed race, people jump at my throat like, how can you not tell that's clearly a black woman? I didn't think so.
No.
I didn't think so. She doesn't look mixed race to me.
As a child, yes. As an
Right.
adult, I don't think she got any kink in her hair.
Well, she straightens it, obviously. She
But
straightens
that's
her
what I'm
hair.
saying. Like the straight hair, she just, and that's what I'm saying. As a child, the hair could have given her away, but as an adult, not really.
This
Do you see
Jessica
Cash
Alba's
Warren?
husband is mixed. Yeah.
His
Wow.
dad is black.
He looks like white
When
Italian.
people said it, I had to look at him like, I don't see it. Exactly. But his
Bruh.
dad is black because I've watched. His dad is an actor who was in a bunch of shows I watched. Pete Wentz also is mixed, but he looks like a white boy.
People swear that
So-
they can tell like who is a white
Nah,
person.
I
I
don't
said
think-
you could not tell me Meghan Markle and Rashida Jones. I would be like, that's a Caucasian lady.
There's some people maybe that are in between, but there are also some very extreme biracials where the black genes didn't even put up a struggle. They're just like, yeah, you got me. Yeah, you got it. You got it. They do nothing at all.
Bruh. Anyway, yeah. So
It's
in
always that
conclusion,
Okay, he's
in
the
conclusion,
asshole,
you add this.
and I'm happy she got away.
Yes, my goodness. Okay, you want to do the next one?
Yes, because I talk about this one every day. Am I the asshole for taking back my tip after the waitress humiliated me in front of everyone? Alright, this occurred a few nights ago, and I just can't believe it happened the way that it did. My partner, 29, female, and I, 32 male, dined out at this Italian restaurant we've been to several times. It's not highly sophisticated, but pleasant enough that you get to sit down, order wine, and have a relaxed evening. Our server, let's name her Samantha, was kind of phased throughout. She lost my drink twice, served the wrong starter, and vanished for what seemed like an eternity when it arrived time to order dessert. It wasn't the end of the world. I've worked customer service myself, and I get that hectic nights go wild. However, service was really poor. When the check came, I paid and left a 10% cash tip. Not excessive, but not nothing either. I thought it was reasonable given the circumstances. We were just standing up to leave when Samantha came over, took the cash and said, seriously, this is it. She had said it audibly. A few people at some nearby tables turned around and stared. I was taken aback. I didn't even know what to say first. Then she added, you know, servers can't pay their rent because of people like you. If you can't tip properly, don't dine out. The restaurant became totally silent, like sitcom silence. My girlfriend was wincing. I just remained calm and I said, okay, sorry you feel that way, and started to leave. Then, no kidding, she muttered, whatever, cheapskates. but loudly enough that it was not only for us. So I went back over, walked over to the table, took the tip, and left without another word. My girlfriend later informed me that I did fine with it, but one of my friends feels like I had overstepped by insisting on getting the tip back. That no matter what, you just leave it and move on. I feel like to be scolded and humiliated on account of a 10% tip that I actually did leave his way out of bounds. So Reddit, am I the asshole for retrieving the tip after she yelled at us in front of everyone in the restaurant? Nope, not the asshole. Not to me. Nope, not at all. I've worked in a restaurant before, and there's something about this tip culture makes people entitled to me. I've gone to do takeouts, and people are like, no tip. Miss Mamas, like, what did you do for me? I came to pick up food. Why? Like, we need to find a balance for restaurants. Like, I don't think that people's living situations should be determined by whatever is going on with them or with you on any given day. I worked at a restaurant, 18 years ago, where we were paid $4-ish an hour. And I think they said servers made less because they relied on tips. But there has to be a better way, because I always tell people, I saw a discussion once on Twitter and people were talking about tipping and how it needs to be 20 or 25%, excuse me. And they're like, well, if you cannot afford to tip, then you shouldn't eat out. And I like to remind them, 25% of zero is zero. Would you rather 10% of something or 0%?
The rebuttal to that,
25% of $0
is if you are a business and you cannot afford to pay your employees a living wage, then you don't have a viable business. Then you should not be in business. And this thing where it's the customers and the employees that are being put against each other, when the villain is the employers. Yeah. The villain is the employers, because they can choose. Listen, say what you want, but you could simply pay your employees a living wage and price your items accordingly. Nobody needs to tip. Your employees don't need to feel like they don't know how much they're going to earn. Am I going to be able to pay my rent? And your customers, are not being guilt tripped. I'll pay, if I go to, pick up my fried rice and it's $20, I pay my $20 and I walk away. If that fried rice is too expensive for me, then I'm not going to get it. But it's $20 because that's the price of the labor for the employee to be paid fairly. Like, why can we not have that system? That's what I don't understand. Price your items accordingly and just pay your employees a living wage and let's get this tipping bullshit out, because it's not fair to anybody. It's not fair to the employees and it's not fair to the customer. Why as an employee,
I've gotten attacked.
Why is the customer, and I worked in restaurants too, like, why is the customer determining how much I make at the end of the month or at the end of the week? It should not be the customers. It should be the agreement that I have with my employer, that you're going to pay me this amount and that is all that I know I'm getting. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what needs to happen in America to get rid of this tipping culture. Luckily for me, at the time when I was waitressing, I worked in California, and California did not do that nonsense where people they adjust your wage. No, like we made the minimum wage, which at the time was like $8. And then your tips. Yeah, they didn't adjust it. They didn't adjust based on your tips. Like, you made minimum wage and your tip was just extra.
It was $4 for something maybe. And then I was front of the house staff, so I wasn't even a server. I was a host. And so nobody was giving me tips. So I had to rely on tip share from credit card tips, which is why when I eat out and I get good service, I always try to leave a cash tip, because I know that that's going just to the server versus putting a credit card tip, which I've wanted to leave a cash tip before. And this was like Chinatown in Boston. The lady came and attacked me. Same thing, like, you don't leave any tip. And it's just like, I signed the thing and I was going to get cash from my wallet.
Okay. Yeah,
and I was just like, I'm never coming back here again.
Like, it's ridiculous at this point. And again, you go to places where they have that, the screen, and it's starting at 20. It's starting at 20%.
20!
And then another thing that restaurants have started doing, especially Black restaurants in Houston, they automatically add the 20% service charge. And my question to you people is this: why don't you just price your items more and then pay why are you adding that gratuity? Just increase your items by 20% and then pay your servers, and then you don't have, you know what I mean? If you're gonna already put it as a service charge, why wouldn't you just increase the price of the menu items and then tell your customers it's okay? The service charge is already included in the price of the individual item. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, we're making it more difficult than it has to be. And
we
the credit card
in this country.
The credit card thing also, credit card tips get taxed, whereas cash, if the waiter doesn't declare it, because who would?
Declare.
The cash tips, that's another reason to leave cash tips. But I hate cash, and I usually don't have enough to be leaving cash tips. But yeah, I usually do credit card. But yeah, that's another reason why they prefer cash tips, is that you don't have to claim it.
There was a restaurant in San Francisco that decided they were going to adjust their prices to make sure that they could pay their employees a living wage. People didn't want to pay higher prices. I mean, they did it for maybe 3 to 6 months. I think that it would probably have to start as maybe from government directive, like pay people the state minimum wage. And then that way everybody's doing it at the same time.
Yes.
But I think that people will be okay going out to eat and just paying whatever is on their bill without you're having a 20, or you go out as a family, you have $100 meal, but somehow somebody wants you to pay $150.
This is a success story to counter what you just said, but the difference is that this was a new business. So it was a new coffee shop, and I think they're in Canada. Is it in Canada? I don't remember. Anyway, a new coffee shop, and they set their barista's wage at $25 an hour, and you cannot tip. And they were successful. They've been open for over a year, and they're opening a new location. That's how successful they've been. So the model can work. I don't know what we're so, why America just is insisting on being backwards, but it can work. And like you said, it might just take a government mandate for that to happen, where number one, the restaurants will have to pay a certain minimum wage, and number two, it will be illegal for customers to leave a tip over a certain amount. Like, you won't be able to do it. And that's how the system is going to change. Because tipping culture in America, it's out of control.
Yeah. I think Publix, it's a grocery chain in the southeast of the US. Publix usually has their baggers walk, like if you need assistance, they'll go to take it to the car, and they're very adamant about do not tip their baggers. Don't tip anybody who helps you. But I do believe that they also pay them decent wages.
Remember when Uber first came out and you couldn't tip? When Uber first came out, there was no option to tip in the app. You couldn't tip in the app. Yeah. And
I'm pretty sure that's why I have 4.88 stars instead of 5.
I don't even want to go on another tangent, but one thing that irritates me, talking about gig economy, I've booked an Uber or a Lyft. I'm going to the airport. So you have accepted the ride to take somebody to the airport. You come and there's shit in your trunk. First of all, you don't go out of the car to help, open it. That's fine. Hey, can you open your trunk? Your gym bag is there. To me, I'm just like, come on. You accepted a ride to the airport. Where do you think I'm going to put my suitcase? Your shit is in the trunk. Now I have to start touching your shit and moving it out of the way? That thing irritates me so much, and it's happened so many times. People just don't give a damn anymore. I don't understand it. If you don't have space in your trunk, don't accept rides to the airport.
That happened to us the other day from the airport, and it was raining.
Bruh.
Coming from the airport, everybody has hand luggage. I had one checked in. We had a lot of bags. And so for that reason, we got an Uber XL. He pops the trunk open and there's stuff in it. But he came down to help put the chair down and get it sorted. But he was doing pickups from the airport. I think that you should assume that people have bags.
It doesn't make any sense. And to me, it's at that point, you are functioning like a taxi. Make your car presentable. It's if I decided to Airbnb my house and I leave all my shit in the fridge. No. If I decide to Airbnb my house, then I should present my house like a hotel. It should be clean. There should be the standard things that you would expect in the fridge. My leftovers should not be in the fridge. So why are you coming to take me to airport and your shit is in the car? Anyway.
Uber fell off. I think In the Chicago subreddits, they're like, it's cheaper to take a taxi from the airport than it is to use Uber.
Really? I use Lyft because, I mean, I just hate Uber. I hate their culture. I hate everything about the company. But there are certain
I
countries
hate
I've been to
Lyft's
where there's
customer
no Lyft.
service.
Oh, I've never had an issue with them. But yeah, I've been forced to use Uber. Like in Brazil,
I've had
they
a
didn't have Lyft.
Did they have Bolt?
In Brazil, I didn't check. I only saw Uber.
Oh.
Like at the airport, the sign was only
In
for
Greece,
Uber.
they
Yeah.
have Uber, but you can get a taxi through the Uber app, which I think that so
Okay.
that there's no animosity between Uber drivers and taxi drivers. You can get a taxi in the Uber app.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. What's the one in Cameroon? Yango.
All right.
I've used Yango before. It was good.
Yango.
Yeah, I used it. I've used it, Douala.
I mean, I haven't been to Cameroon in a while.
I use Yango. It's
I
good.
still use taxis. I use taxis and Benskin, and then I beg people in the house to drop me.
It's just easier. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm too bougie now, but like, it's easier to just call a car than to be standing on the road with my thumb out. And then I'm not sharing a taxi. That's the other reason why I prefer Yango. So I'm not sharing a taxi, so I need an empty taxi because I'm renting the whole thing.
I just want to say that I like to take shared taxis for sociological research. The wildest things that you ever hear in Cameroon, in Douala especially, will come out of the mouth of a taxi driver.
People don't respect
The most
personal space.
misogynistic,
So no.
the most misogynistic. No, I
People-
tell you that I've had one where I don't even know what this lady did to him. I don't know what she did to him. It's like he looked at her, maybe she stared him down. He said, "Look at her. You see her, she's probably a grandmother, but if you want to talk to her, she'll roll her eyes." Early in the morning, you just looked at this woman. Yeah, another one who said, "Friend will say how they are going to church, and then they'll come back at 9 p.m. when they slap her now. She'll want to be upset." That drive
What the
around
hell?
Bonapriso, you see taxi drivers sleeping in their cars because these women are just disturbing them. They can't even go home. They turns to me and say, "N'est-ce pas c'est vrai, massa?" I say, "Hey, laisse-moi. Don't breathe."
Nah.
What are you asking me? About n'est-ce pas c'est vrai? No.
I don't do shared taxis in Cameroon. I do not do Benskin
Yeah.
in Cameroon, but I did it in Jamaica and Brazil. I did Benskin there.
See these are Deportees.
No, when I go to Cameroon, I'm at Djibouti police. In other countries, then yeah, I can I can be an area girl, but like not in Cameroon.
I took my offspring to Cameroon. I didn't do share taxi with her. So when I'm alone, yeah, but when I'm with her, no. But we did Benskin. And let me tell you something. She enjoyed the life out of Benskin. I have her on video going, wee!
It's scary. It's scary. I'll only do it. I did it in Jamaica because the traffic was so bad that, there was no way. This man was driving. The way I screamed in his ear, I'm scared. And then in Brazil,
in Cameroon,
like,
when
same
I do
thing.
it, in Cameroon, when I do it, I always tell them. So I typically use it. My parents' house is like inside the quartier where it's not tarred. And I'm just like, I really don't want to deal with if it's water, sand. I don't want to deal with that. So I'll usually take it just to leave the house to get to the main
road.
street. When I'm doing it on the road, I just tell them, I'm like, I'm not in a hurry. If you're in a hurry, put me down. Go to where you're going. My goal is to reach alive, not fast. I'm not in a hurry, so put me down. If you're in a hurry, okay, bye. It's very simple. Like, let me just sit here and enjoy this breeze. Because sometimes it's also very hot in Douala. I think Yangos are air conditioned. I just
I'm
like
trying to
breeze,
think.
but yeah.
Yeah,
I'm an area girl.
and then the Benskin too, that the way they bob and weave in between, like it's not just the speed, it's that cutting in and
And
out.
that's what I'm saying.
Like between cars, I don't like that shit.
Don't do that. I've told them don't do that. Don't do that with me. Listen, I'm just trying to get to my destination alive. So don't do tricks like you're trying to. No, it's not for me.
Anyway,
Oh well.
that's all we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this yap session. Next episode, we're going to be.
That's all.
I said As if an hour and a half is not enough. The listeners are probably like, shut up, damn. Next week, we're going to be discussing our August book of the month, which is The Secret Lives of Baba Shegi's Wives by Lola Shonein. And as I've said many times before, I really, really love this book. So definitely tune in next week. And if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, so you can see our beautiful faces, asterisk subject to opinion. We are at 2Bs in a pod and Instagram at 2Bs pod. Subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And until next time.
If you heal the leg of a person, do not be surprised if they use it to run away.
I love this because it reminded me those people that will bring their romantic partner to America, like you help them immigrate, right? And then you guys end up breaking up and they go their separate way, and like you're resentful because you feel like you brought them here and they owe you. They don't. Like when you're doing something for somebody, do it in the spirit of you don't expect any kind of loyalty or anything in return. Just do it. And if you cannot do it in that spirit, then don't do it. That's my philosophy anyway.
I mean, I hear you, but I've also told anybody that would listen, that if you have to go and bring a spouse from somewhere else, that's really my own red flag for you, because what was wrong with everybody that was here? I feel like you already have ulterior motives.
Well, yeah, that's true, but maybe they were high school sweethearts or something. They're exceptions, but in general, you are correct. That's a red flag.
There's usually an age gap. People rarely bring their peers. Anyways, we're starting again. All right.
Okay. Bye.